What's happening, everybody? My name is Joe La, former hard rock drummer, metal singer, current singer-songwriter, not on St. Patrick's Day green shirt wearer. This is a pretty cool shirt, actually. It's probably about 15 or so years old, and it's kind of faded now, but it used to say only Chuck Norris can prevent forest fires. It's got a little head face of Chuck Norris with a forest ranger cap. So yeah, I keep it around. I wear it often. Welcome to episode 5 of the Songs and Stories video series that I'm doing. Today I'm going to do a cover song for you, a Weezer cover. And to be quite honest, I had a completely different song picked out and just got to a point of, ran through it a couple times and wasn't really feeling it for the story that I wanted to tell with it. So I scrapped it and slept on it and woke up and actually came up with a better one that matches the story. So for me, everybody remembers the mid-90s when Weezer came out, and because of their look and kind of their lyric content and River's voice, they were not a lot different, but definitely different than, your, Pumpkins and Bush and, all these other, Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains and all these kind of had, a similar vibe. Weezer was definitely a step in a different direction. So I always appreciated that about them. But they really, are most memorable for me. Started getting into their catalog quite a bit when I moved to Bishop, California, and had a really rough junior year there. I just moved to the town and really didn't attach myself with any group of people, and nobody at that point when I first started school there really latched on to me. So it was a rough time. I spent my lunches hanging out in the library and pretending to read really awesome, super smart looking books, and actually did a lot of writing on my own, kind of started to develop, writing lyrics and rhymes and poetry and stuff like that. But later that year, things got a little bit better. I met one of my still best friends to this day, Mick Connolly. He actually lived across the street from where I lived, and we hit it off, and basically we rode the bus home together, but we ended up kind of chit-chatting on the way home, on the walks home, and eventually that summer, after junior year was over, his freshman year was over, we ended up just hanging out all the time, became really good friends, and my cousin Jack moved up, so there was another homie for the crew, and we really latched onto a lot of different music at that time, be it Papa Roach was coming out, Linkin Park. We dove into some, Doors and Jimi Hendrix, like, any teenager does, and I had been messing with that before, but the Green album hit for Weezer, and it was brand new at that point. I think it was 2001, and they hadn't released an album since Pinkerton, which I really didn't latch onto that. I was definitely a fan of the Blue album, but it took me a while to come around to Pinkerton and figure that out, which is an amazing album. But anyways, we dove headfirst into the Green album. We played it, I swear, probably a half a dozen times every day that summer, and it was just, it had really good memories for me. Bishop is a really small mountain town, not much for 17, 16-year-old kids to do except for get in trouble, drink beer, both of those combined. We were pretty good kids, we drank beer and, smoked cigars and all that, tried to be cool, but Mick's parents had a trailer, a little, like 22, 23 foot trailer in the side of their property. And we had a little original Nintendo hooked up in there, and we had this boombox. We used to take that Green album, the CD, you remember the old boom boxes where you had the lid that popped up? You had to put the CD in, close the lid, and wait for about 3 seconds for it to calibrate, and then the little track numbers would pop up on the display, and then you hit play, and you let it go, and that album jammed from the start. So that was something we always really identified with, and it just hit us at the right time. It was a really good album for that summer, and some of my best memories. But speaking of summer, the cover I'm going to do today is Island in the Sun. It's just always remembers or reminds me of that summer in Bishop and hanging out in Mick's backyard and side yard and taking trips down Main Street in Bishop in my 68 Chevelle and windows down, you know, the cliche kind of a thing. But that was life for us. That's all we did, you know, cruise to the local Kmart, shoot off Nerf guns in the toy aisle because we had shit else to do. So it's a good little moment in time. It's one of those albums I put on and it takes me right back there real quick. So I'm going to play that for you. First, the beer of the day is the Port Brewing High Tide IPA. It's 6.2. It's pretty hop forward, as they call it. So I can definitely taste that. But once again, I live in Southern California, and it's warm, especially in my garage. So cold beer is good and welcome, no matter what kind it is. All right, I just kind of played through this a little while ago. Like I said, I hadn't prepared to do this, but we're gonna give it a whirl. This is Island in the Sun. Try to take it a little slow. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. When you're on a holiday, you can't find the words to say. All the things that come to you, and I wanna feel it too. On an island in the sun, you'll be playing, having fun, and it makes me feel so fine. I can't control my brain. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. When you're on a golden sea, you don't need no memory, just a place to call your own as we drift into the zone. On an island in the sun, we'll be playing and having fun, and it makes me feel so fine. I can't control my brain. We'll run away together. We'll spend some time forever. We'll never feel that anymore. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. On an island in the sun, we'll be playing and having fun, and it makes me feel so fine. I can't control my brain. We'll run away together. We'll spend some time forever. We'll never feel that anymore. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. We'll never feel that anymore. We'll never feel that anymore. All right, that's it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed that tune. As always, leave comments or feedback in the section below, and be sure to check out my channel. Probably gonna be releasing some original stuff in the future. Been working pretty hard on it. Got a lot of songs kind of coming out of the brain recently, so I'm pretty excited about that. I don't know if I'm gonna do a EP, an album, or just throw them out there on YouTube on this channel, but keep an eye out for it. You guys stay well, stay up, keep yourselves busy, keep creating, and I will see you on episode 6.